Ask yourself, Mr. Speaker, why would anybody want to stop this bill from getting a vote? What are Republicans so afraid of?
Why would Congress stop the public release of Jeffrey Epstein's files, especially when they claim to support victims and transparency? Tonight, a bipartisan push to expose the truth was blocked again. Here's what you need to know. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and click the bell so you never miss deep dives like this.
Mr. Speaker, I'm going to urge that we defeat the previous question, and I will offer an amendment to the rule to immediately bring up to the House floor H.R. 4405, the bipartisan Epstein Files Transparency Act introduced by Representatives Khanna and Massey under a closed rule with 1 hour of debate. Mr. Speaker, tonight in the Rules Committee, Democrats offered a motion, several motions, to allow a vote on the floor to actually release the Epstein files, and Republicans on the committee just voted to block it. Time and time again. The only reason it won't be considered on the floor immediately after this rule passes is because of 9 Republicans on the Rules Committee who voted no. Now, with the previous question, I will give the entire Republican conference another chance to vote to release the Epstein files. The only other chance to vote on it this week. And as I just said, the resolution Republicans just voted on in the Rules Committee is a glorified press release. It is non-binding. The Republicans are pretending to do something because they're feeling the heat at home. But it won't even come to the House floor this week, Mr. Speaker. We can't even get a commitment for when it's coming to the floor. The bipartisan bill we are offering, if we defeat the previous question, would actually release the files. It would have the power of law. It would not be a glorified press release. Ask yourself, Mr. Speaker, why would anybody want to stop this bill from getting a vote? What are Republicans so afraid of? Mr. Speaker, I ask unanimous consent to insert the text of my amendment into the record, along with extraneous material immediately prior to the vote on the previous question. And to discuss that proposal, I yield 2 minutes to the gentleman from California, the sponsor of the bill, Mr. Khanna.
Without objection, the gentleman from California is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the American people, Republicans, Independents, Democrats, want the Epstein files released with the victim's identity protected. Now, most people don't understand how this town works, so I'm going to try to explain this really simply. Congressman Massey and I introduced a bipartisan bill to release all the Epstein files and to make sure victims were protected. There are 10 Republican co-sponsors of that bill, including MAGA stalwarts like Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene, including Lauren Boebert, including Tim Burchett. And we have the votes tonight to pass it. But what happened is in the Rules Committee, they don't want to have this vote tonight because they know they're going to lose, because they know their own members want to vote for it. What's even sillier is they have this non-binding resolution. So I thought, surely we would vote on a non-binding resolution. They don't even want to vote on the non-binding resolution in case Donald Trump gets slightly offended. They don't even want the vote on the non-binding resolution tonight. Now, the president is paying attention, not just because his favorite Congressman Thomas Massey is involved. He's paying attention, and he said, okay, let's release. He directs the Attorney General Pam Bondi, let's release and ask the courts to release the grand jury testimony. Here's the problem. The grand jury testimony is largely about Epstein and Maxwell, not about all the rich and powerful men who abused, assaulted, and abandoned young women. Those people are still being protected. And by the way, the courts usually don't release grand jury testimony. But you know what? The president is hearing the American people. And the president knows that if there's a vote tonight, this body overwhelmingly would vote for the release of the files.
30 seconds.
Additional 30 seconds.
I need 10 seconds. This question is, whose side are you on? Today, the Democrats are on the side of the people. The Democrats are on the side of the children. There are 10 Republicans who are on the side of the people and the children, but the entire Democratic Party is on that side, and the Republicans have chosen to protect the rich and powerful men who've abused our children. It's wrong, and that's the clear difference tonight.
In a fiery House floor speech, a Democratic member called out Republicans for blocking H.R. 4405, the Epstein Files Transparency Act. This bill, introduced by Democrat Ro Khanna and Republican Thomas Massey, would force the release of all Epstein-related federal files, protecting victim identities, but exposing the full web of high-powered individuals connected to Epstein's abuse network. Why was it blocked? 9 Republicans on the House Rules Committee voted against allowing the bill to come to a floor vote. Subscribe if you believe in holding power accountable. What is the Epstein Files Transparency Act? The bill, H.R. 4405, is simple. Declassify all federal files related to Jeffrey Epstein. Protect victim identities. Use full congressional authority to override inaction by courts or agencies. It's not a symbolic gesture, it's legally binding. Unlike the non-binding resolution Republicans put forward, which critics call a glorified press release, H.R. 4405 would force the release of the documents. Subscribe now to follow this legislation and hear updates from both sides. Why are Republicans blocking it? Democrats allege this is all about protecting the powerful. Representative Khanna said that GOP leadership doesn't even want to vote on their non-binding resolution, possibly out of fear that Donald Trump or other high-profile allies could be implicated or angered. Let that sink in. There's bipartisan support inside the Republican ranks. Names like Marjorie Taylor Greene, Lauren Boebert, and Tim Burchett all back the bill. But the leadership doesn't want to vote because they might lose. If you think Americans deserve transparency, subscribe right now and comment your thoughts below. What about victims and grand jury testimony? The White House reportedly supports the push, with President Trump directing Attorney General Pam Bondi to seek the release of some records. But there's a legal catch. Grand jury testimony is rarely released. And most of what exists focuses on Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell, not the unnamed elites believed to be complicit. That's what H.R. 4405 seeks to change. It sidesteps red tape, uses congressional power, and finally delivers answers the public's been demanding. Subscribe if you believe victims deserve justice, not years of delay and political theater. Final word: who's protecting whom? In one of the most impassioned lines of the night, Rep. Khanna asked, "Whose side are you on? The people and the children, or the rich and powerful men who abused them?" That's the question hanging over Congress right now. If you want more investigative breakdowns like this, subscribe and share this video with someone who cares about justice. Valuable contribution. My take as a journalist. This moment represents a broader pattern in Washington. Public outrage meets political gatekeeping. When even bipartisan efforts are blocked by procedural tools like the previous question rule, it's not just political, it's strategic obstruction. Transparency shouldn't be partisan. The American people deserve full accountability. Subscribe because you deserve the full story.